A Rim Reaper. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a build with that name in NBA 2K26? If anyone watching this has any sort of thoughts or impressions on Rim Reaper builds of any kind, let me know in the comments. I'm also asking because I'm still somewhat intrigued by the idea of a build that is just simply named Rim Reaper. As you can see, Rim Reaper is my build's name in 2K26, and up to this point it's my one and only build. So I'm excited to not only share how I made this build, but I also have some further thoughts on the pure Rim Reaper build name, as well as some cap breaker projections for this build's development, and then a comparison to another pure Rim Reaper that I found, as well as a few other quick things to showcase for my build to conclude things. So here's how this build shapes up. Again, it's a center, and he's 6'9", 242, with a max wingspan of 7'3". For the finishing, this build is far from spectacular, but it can do some things. Now the 73 close shot gives you bronze paint prodigy, and you also get rise up on bronze. And then another plus finishing wise is the combination of the 73 driving dunk and 75 standing dunk. That unlocks the Giannis dunk package, which is very useful. And shooting wise, I've been happy. I think for the most part with how I've been able to shoot so far in 2K26 with having the 78 midi and the 78 3 ball. And I'm saying that, today, which is the beginning of Season 2, so we'll see how that progresses through the rest of 2K26. Now in terms of playmaking, this build isn't anything special either, but it does get the job done as a big man with the 75 pass ac, which unlocks silver break starter. Now this build can really shine defensively, I think in a few ways, and it's also a really good rebounder. Now having both 84 interior defense and 74 perimeter defense unlocks a good combination of badges that can allow you to be very versatile defensively. And I feel like you can kind of guard both big men and wings, and then the occasional guard on a switch or something as well. Now this build does sacrifice the steal rating, but it also has a 97 block for Hall of Fame Paint Patroller and 96 defensive rebound for Hall of Fame Box Out Beast and Rebound Chaser. And the last thing to point out for this build is its speed. Now that's another attribute that I decided to sacrifice a bit, with it only being a 61. But despite that, I don't feel like this build is slow necessarily. Now don't get me wrong, it's definitely not fast, but the 71 agility makes up for the lack of speed somewhat, especially in the half court. And it also has solid strength and vertical at 78 and 74. Now I'm really excited about the cap breakers for this build. And I think that speaks to how cool the cap breaker system is in 2K26. There's so much you can do to almost transform a build by essentially developing an entirely new skill set. Now the first thing to see here is that I used my first 3 cap breakers that I got in Season 1 on defensive rebound. This is big because it unlocks both Legend Rebound Chaser and Box Out Beast. Now from here on out, I have a plan for what I'm going to do with my next 10 cap breakers, including the one unused cap breaker that I currently have. And 10 cap breakers sounds like a lot, but I think it's very obtainable by the end of Season 5. Now again, I currently have the one unused cap breaker from the Season 1 level 40 reward. And then I'll get 4 more cap breakers for the Season level 40 rewards for Season 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the crew that I'm in is almost level 22, so that'll come with 1 more cap breaker as a reward for that. And then finally, I'll get 1 cap breaker at starter 3, and then 3 cap breakers at starter 5 for a total of 10 cap breakers. Now, once I actually accumulate all of those, my plan is to put 2 on post control. This will take that rating to a 63, which will give me bronze post fade phenom. And from there, I'm planning to move on to playmaking, which I will put 4 cap breakers on ball handle, and that's going to take that rating to a 73. Now this is going to unlock bronze handle for days, bronze unpluckable, and also gold strong handle. It's probably those are the 3 that I'm probably most excited about, especially the gold strong handle. And then finally, with the remaining 4 cap breakers, once I get them, my plan is to put those 4 on speed with ball, which will take that rating to a 70 and unlock bronze lightning launch. Now, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw the name Rim Reaper when I first made this build, all the way back at the end of August. I initially thought it was a bit of an underwhelming name. And that was my takeaway partially because I didn't know exactly what the build name Rim Reaper meant. I think the first thing that comes to mind for most people when they see Rim Reaper is a build who excels at finishing at the rim. And my build can do that, again, to a degree, but that's really not the calling card for the build. And then I got to thinking about it a little bit more. The calling card for the build really is rim protection and high-level rebounding for his size. And both of those things relate to being at or around the rim. So my theory for 2K's Rim Reaper build name is that any build that gets that name should be able to be impactful at the rim in multiple ways and on both sides of the ball. And usually Rim Reaper builds tend to feature a nice mix of shooting and passing with at least some finishing to be respectable. Mine is probably the lowest you can go to get that threshold, I'd say. And one other common aspect of Rim Reaper builds is versatile defense in some capacity as well. Now, in my research for this video, I came across a lot of builds on YouTube that included variations of Rim Reaper in the title. For instance, Physical Rim Reaper and Rim Reaping Slasher were 2 that I came across, and I'll link to those both in the description. However, I did find one other build that has the exact same pure Rim Reaper build name. Now, this other pure Rim Reaper build, which was made by the YouTuber Cameron, link to his video will be in the description as well, is actually a small forward. And while his build and my build do have some similarities, I also feel like there are 2 very different builds at the same time, which is fascinating, given the fact that his is a small forward and mine is a center, yet we share the exact same pure Rim Reaper build name. And this makes me wonder, what other pure Rim Reapers could exist out there? I certainly may have missed some on YouTube, but if you personally have a Rim Reaper or if you know someone who does, let me know. It seems like these Rim Reaper builds could be even a little bit more versatile than I initially thought, so I want to learn as much about any type of Rim Reaper builds out there that I can. Now, before I end this video, I want to showcase a few quick things. Now, here's my rec stats so far. Again, we're in the early part of Season 2 in 2K26 as I'm recording this. And in addition, here's the animations that I've been using. Now, for one quick note, I'm a big fan of the Carmelo Anthony free throw. It's a small thing, but I've been using his free throw for as long as I can remember in 2K, and I really like it. And also, Drew Eubanks is a quality motion style for any big men that are on the slower side. And here's my custom jump shot. Now, this is a very popular one in 2K this year, and I would highly recommend this shot as well. And lastly, I got to give a quick shout out to the 216 Foot Clan. That's the crew that I'm in, and I really enjoy playing with these guys. Thanks so much for your time and for watching, and I'll catch you next time.